Hi guys! It's been another while since I've filmed. I actually haven't sat down to film since everything that happened with the Black Lives Matter movement, so the first thing I want to say is, of course, Black Lives do matter. And since the murders and the protests started happening, I've been doing a lot of reflection, which has led to some changes in my reading goals for the rest of the year, but I will talk about that a little bit later. This video is going to be a sort of check-in, catch-up of my reading goals that I made at the beginning of the year, which was my 20 and 2020 series edition, and also some updates for my reading goals for the second half of the year, because this year has been insane. There are a lot of really unexpected things that happened, so obviously some goals that you made at the end of last year when none of this had happened and you had no idea of knowing this would happen have probably changed at this point because they don't quite line up with our expectations for the year. So I just wanted to check in on my goals, see how far I've gotten in my goals, what I'm planning to do for the rest of the year, and start to make some new goals as well. So my main goal at the start of 2020 was to catch up on series that I'd already started. I had a total of 20 books that were continuations of 9 series that I had already started in the past couple years, and finishing those series or catching up to either what I planned or what's been released has been my goal for the majority of 2020. So with what I've accomplished so far at the midpoint of the year, I have read 13 of my 20 books. Of the 9 series I had on this list, I have finished 2, I've caught up on 2, I have 4 currently in progress, and 1 that I haven't started. So the 2 series that I have finished are the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden and the Queens of Renthia series by Sarah Beth Durst. I have caught up to everything that's released for the Tenserate series, and I read the 1 book I was planning to of the Earthsea series. I've read 5 of the 7 books that I planned to for the Discworld series, 1 of the 2 books that I planned for the Wheel of Time series, 1 of the 2 books that I planned for the Wayfarer series, and I'm currently reading the 1 book in the Poppy War series. The only series I haven't started yet is the Witch Boy series, because that I am planning to read around October during Halloween time. They're graphic novels, so they'll be really fast anyway. For all the books that I have already finished, I will link all of the wrap-ups where I talk about these books in the description. I go much more in depth in those videos so you can see what I thought about each book as I finish them. But as a sort of really quick overview, I really enjoyed the Winter Night trilogy. I thought that the 3rd book was a fantastic end to the series. I was pretty let down with the Queens of Renthia series. I loved the 1st book, but the next 2 were just downhill from there. There were a lot of problems I had with consequences in that series that didn't really make much sense. The Tenserate series was really interesting. It was much darker than I remembered or anticipated, and the narrative structure changes for all 4 novellas, which was really unique. I enjoyed the 2nd book in the Earthsea Cycle series more than I did the 1st, but I'm still not over the moon about that series. Discworld is slowly improving the further I get along in chronological order, because I am reading it chronologically, and you can definitely tell as he writes more of these books that he's definitely improving in his storytelling and his plots and his characters and everything. So I'm really enjoying my read through that series. For Wheel of Time, I really liked the 2nd book much more than I liked the 1st book. I didn't like the 1st book really at all, but the 2nd book was so interesting and so gripping, so I'm really excited to continue in that series. Same with the Wayfarer series. I was okay with the 1st book in the Wayfarer series, but the 2nd book I absolutely loved. It was so good. I don't know what it is about that. I think I was just more connected with the characters because there's only 2 points of view versus the I don't remember how many in the 1st book, so I really like where this series is going. I know they're all companion books in the same series, so it's not really going to follow the same characters, but I really like where the storytelling is headed based on my experience with the 2nd book. With the Poppy War, I'm finding I'm having the same problem that I had in the beginning when I was reading the Poppy War, where I was just so intimidated and scared about what would happen that I'm not picking it up, so I haven't gotten far in that at all at this point. I am working on it. I do want to read it. I'm very excited for it, and I know once I get into it, I will be absolutely hooked and I will read it in like 2 seconds, but it's just the problem of getting into it and getting ready for all of the pain that is going to happen. So we'll see how that one goes. And then, like I said, with the Witch Boy series, I'm going to hold off until October because I'm just really excited to read those, but I want to be more in a spooky kind of mood. So that's a little update on where I am with my 20 and 2020 challenge. I have 7 more books to read, which I think I will be able to do by the end of the year. So far, I've been doing really well, better than I expected to, but I think I just work much better when I have a set list of things that I need to read. So far this challenge is working out out really well for me. Now I wanted to add a new goal for the second half of 2020. Like I said before, with everything that happened with the Black Lives Matter movement, I wanted to find some more ways that I can support that and raise Black voices. So I decided to look through my entire TBR shelf on Goodreads and see how many Black authors I have on those and which books I can prioritize for the second half of the year. And out of 540 books that I have on my want to read list, there were a total of 30 that were by Black authors. Just 30. I was furious. Partially that's a problem with publishing and marketing, but also partially it's my fault because I wasn't ever particularly seeking out these voices, which now I realize that I should be. So that number has definitely increased in the last month, but I want to make it a point for the rest of the year to read only POC authors with a preference for Black authors. I'm not going to pick up any new books by white authors for the rest of the year. However, I do have two caveats for that. The first one being obviously my series challenge. Some of the series that I am currently in the middle of are written by white authors, and I already made a commitment to read those, so I'm going to let myself continue in those series and read those books even though they are by white authors. And my second little exemption is for any books that I own physically, because similarly to my series challenge, I've already made a commitment to read these books and I'm not going to just ignore them because I'm trying to do this challenge. But at the same time, I don't think that's really going to limit me very much because most of the books I read are from the library. At most, I probably read one book a month from my physical TBR shelves, so I don't really think it's going to prevent me from being able to read POC authors and Black authors. So while I do have those two exceptions, anything else I pick up, anything new, is going to be either POC or preferably Black. I know this is just a small way that I can show my support. There are obviously so many other things that need to be done as well. And it's not the only thing I'm doing, but it is something that I'm excited about. I'm really excited to discover new authors and to get a chance to raise their voices and listen to their voices and see what they have to say. And I'm just excited to learn more about different cultures. So those are my two goals for the rest of the year. I will be continuing my 20 in 2020 series challenge, and also I will be reading only POC authors. I would love to know how your reading challenges and goals are going, or if you've changed them. I am very curious about other people's goal setting habits. It's something that just really fascinates me for some reason, so please let me know, and I will see you later. Bye.